I was very much awake, sitting on my bed. This time I had another voice start speaking to me. He told me that he was Gabriel. And as soon as he said that, I shot off the bed and I just start sobbing immediately because of what I felt when I heard his voice. I could feel his holiness. You can feel how unholy you are in comparison. I felt so much joy. And at the same time, I felt despair because of my sinful nature. And then he told me I was very much awake. I was sitting on my bed, but I was leaned up against the wall. I don't know what I was doing, whether I was looking at my phone or reading. I can't say what I was doing, and this time I had another voice start speaking to me very clearly. And he told me that he was Gabriel. And it was very clear. And as soon as he said that, I shot off the bed. I'm standing and I just start sobbing immediately. I hadn't heard anything that he told me. I didn't even I hadn't heard any of the message yet, but immediately I was racked with sobs because of what I felt when I heard his voice. It was, I could feel his holiness, and how to explain that. It's hard because I've never felt anything like it. And you can't really put it into words, but I'm telling you, your cells, your DNA, your body recognizes it. Even though you recognize the holiness, and you can feel how unholy you are in comparison. And it's such an unnerving feeling. It was a contrast of, I felt so much joy, and at the same time I felt so much despair because of my sinful nature. It's the craziest, and that's all happening before before he's even telling me anything. And so he told me a few things. I'm standing there just sobbing while he tells me that I need to go on a fast. That was one of the first things that he told me. And I don't know the reason he gave me. I don't want to put any words in his mouth, but it was dire. I needed to go on a fast to break free from what was happening to me. He told me that this was bigger than just me. Oh, I'm sorry. He told me I need to go on a fast, and then he proceeded to explain the fast to me. He said, you need to go without eating food or drinking water for 3 days, followed by drinking water only for 4 days. So 7 days in total. He said, you need to begin at midnight exactly and end it at midnight exactly. It's going to make it more powerful in the spiritual realm. And then he went on to tell me, the heavenly hosts find you offensive. You know what you need to be doing with the rest of your life. Then he told me, I have one final gift for you. And I remember thinking, a feather, which is so funny that I would even think that. I was like, oh, he's going to give me a feather. So I guess what I wanted. But he didn't answer that. He just said, I have love for you. And then he told me he would never speak to me again for all of eternity. And that was the message. Now, looking back, at the time, I hadn't even read the whole Bible yet. I just started. But I believe the feeling that I got from him was, I think I was feeling the presence of God. And I say that, I have this written down. I say that because in Luke 1:19, when Gabriel is speaking to Mary, it says, and the angel answered and said to him, I am Gabriel, who stands in the presence of God and was sent to speak to you and bring these glad tidings. So if Gabriel was speaking to me and he was standing in the presence of God, I could have felt that. I could have felt that presence of God. And when I hear other people talk about what it feels like to be in the Father's presence and all this, the way they talk about it is the closest thing I can gather to how I felt. So I'm wondering if that is why I could feel all this physical reaction from his voice, was because of where he stands at. And at the time, I didn't know that heavenly hosts were angels. He said that when he said heavenly hosts, I thought that he was talking about everybody who's in heaven, all the deceased people, everybody who lives there. I didn't realize that the heavenly hosts were angels. And later, and I believe that at that time he was warning me that I here it says in Matthew 13:41 through 42, the Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And so when he told me the heavenly hosts find you offensive, he was literally telling me at that moment, you are lawless, you are offensive. Like I was going to be one of those people that the angels gather up at the end and toss into the furnace. And so I believe that he was warning me. But at the time, I didn't even know what he was talking about. It wasn't until a year or maybe longer than that when I actually was studying the Bible and I was like, oh no, like he was really giving me a final warning, I believe. That was my explanation of it. So that happened. And then within a very short time, I started the fast. I failed at first. I had to kind of start over. I don't know how many times, but I didn't get it straight through the first time. But I just kept telling myself, I had never even really fasted before. I can't think of a time where I've ever fasted. It was all new to me. And I, and so of course, I'm starting off on this dry 3-day fast, which is crazy. And I just remember thinking, I just remember feeling so bad. And when you're burning off all those toxins and you can't even have water to flush them out, I mean, you just feel your kidneys are hurting and you got a headache and your whole body aches like you got the flu and you just feel nauseous and you're like, then there's no way I'm going to make it. And I just kept thinking, this is dire. I have to do this. I can either die doing this fast or die because that thing's going to come back and shank me and spiritually somehow. And then I remember thinking how the angel told me, like Gabriel told me, this is bigger than just you. I'm like, I just kept holding on to that. I was like, there's something, I got to do this. It's bigger than just me. Other people are depending on me somehow. And so I made it through the fast. And let me tell you something. During that 7 days, my life completely changed. Within the first few days, all the activity that had been going on around me, nonstop for months, had completely stopped. During that week, midweek, probably maybe the 4th day, I went to Walmart because I was squirreling up all the food I was going to eat when I started eating again. Every day I'd go to Walmart and be like, "Oh, I'm going to get some gummy bears." You know, and I had a pile of things I was going to eat. So I was on my way to Walmart to get my storage food, and I ran into a lady in the parking lot that I had known a couple years or a little while prior to that. Right when I first moved to Hebrew, I'd met her, and I'd helped her father because I helped her father when he passed away. And I was like, "Hey," and she was like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, "I'm good." I was like, "Long time no see," and she was like, "Yeah." I don't know if I said that exactly. I mean, we caught up. I'll say that it was a short interaction, and she was like, "Well, I need some help right now. My mom's not doing good, and I'm working full time, and I need somebody to come help my mom. Do you know if you know anybody?" And I said, "I'll help you." So during that 7 days, I think it had to be the last 2 days. I moved into her house because I became a full time caregiver for her mom. I never had to sleep in my apartment again. Like God literally changed my location. He got off all that stuff off my back. I've never had anything like that happen to me again. I've never had any kind of attack like that happen. Um, since then, I believe it was the end December 2020, 2021 when that was happening because her mom died in 22. So yeah, it was January 2021 was when I ended the fast. Since then, I have done multiple fasts. I've done a couple of those fasts, but they're harder. I've done dry fasts, or I'm sorry, water fasts, Daniel fasts, intermediate fasts. Like I've done a lot of fasting and praying and deliverance, self deliverance, just on television, some in person, but mostly on television. And I have been set free from everything. Not everything. Nobody's ever set free from everything, but I have completely lost my desire for drugs. I don't smoke anymore. I don't take any antidepressants anymore. I'm not on antipsychosis medicine anymore. I don't take caffeine anymore. because it affects me very. I feel like I'm on a tighter leash just because of my past and with the seizure and everything. I want to be extra careful about anything that changes my brain chemistry. I'm not on anything. And I don't even want it. I had been sober for set periods of time throughout my life when I had to be, like in the military. I was mostly. I mean, I drank a lot then, but I didn't do a lot of drugs then because you take urinalysis and all this. But I was forced to be, and I never liked it. I just always couldn't wait for the day I could party or um. But now I don't even want it. I don't even want it. He's changed the desires of my heart. And no, I'm not gonna sit here and say that heroin doesn't feel good and all this. Of course it does. It feels great. But the spiritual heaviness of it and that it takes me from God and separates me from him, it's not even worth it. And I never felt like that before. The Lord has changed how I look at things. Like before I thought it was okay to have sex outside of marriage. I thought it was okay to sleep with a married man. And now I've been abstinent for years. I'm never going to sleep with a man again unless I'm married to him. And if God doesn't bring me a husband, then so be it. I'll wait on Jesus to come back and be his bride. I'm okay. And I couldn't even think of doing that now. It would just I think to my old life, it horrifies me all the things I've done. Is he changed how I look at children? I was always one of those people that children, as all I saw from children was sticky fingers, empty bank accounts, and a burden, and I never wanted them. And now I look at a child; they are the most precious treasure of God could ever give somebody, and I have love for them. And he's just changed me so much. And so in this podcast, before I end, I wanted to give a shout out to all the women who have ever had abortions, um, that God still loves you. He's not mad at you. His heart is broken for you. He loves you just as much as he loved just as much as he loves that baby who is with him now. And he just wants you to come home, and he wants you to repent, and he wants to help you heal from all your pain. Don't think that God doesn't want you because you had an abortion or if you had 1,000 abortions. He loves you. And I wanted to give a shout out to all my people suffering from PTSD of any kind, whether it's from war or there's all kinds of other PTSD that's sexual trauma. I mean, anything. I believe that PTSD is demonic oppression. I believe it. I can't speak for all of it, but it, even if they're demons, if anything, they don't make anything better. They make everything worse. They'll take a little thing and amplify it, and all the pills and the antidepressants. I think they're just masking demonic influence and demonic oppression. And I'm not ruling out that it at all that you don't ever need any of those things. Of course not. But I just want to tell everybody who's suffering with PTSD to give deliverance a try. Give fasting a try. You've tried everything else. Try it. It's the only freedom I've ever gained from my addictions, from everything. The only lasting freedom I ever had was when I sought the Lord and I fasted and prayed. All those other things were just band-aids, and it'd wear off or I'd get off of it, and it was just a constant roller coaster. This is the truest freedom I've ever felt, from any of that. And I just want to encourage everybody to give fasting and prayer and you don't have to go see a deliverance minister. You can do it on your TV. Do it, make it a daily thing, a weekly thing. Do some deliverance at your house. Um, and 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 also about so that's the most important part of the message is I'm sorry. For everybody that doesn't believe that I got a message from an angel, that's okay. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I I just really wanted to get that message out there for that person who is desperate, who is getting hunted by some invisible entity that they can't break free from it. Some think they're about to die, that maybe they're desperate enough to try just anything, and maybe that fast can help them. the way it helped me. So that's the only reason why I want to tell people about it. The most important part of the story and the star of this show is the Lord Jesus Christ, who has set me free from so many things and has completely changed my heart and is still working on me to this day. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks for watching. This was just a short clip from the full episode of God's Voice Today podcast. And if you want to see the full story, it should be on the screen right now. So don't miss it.